Welcome back to At Home with Roby. I'm Patrick McIsaac from Roby Electric, along with Trent Haston from the Roby family of companies. We are your hosts. We're here with Greg Wiley from Ingitecture, and Greg is an electrical engineer by trade. And Greg, before the break, we were talking to Trent. Trent was mentioning his story about being in a Tesla, and his experience was obviously great. And really, our relationship has flourished based on car chargers, of all things, with a mutual partner, EnviroSpark, and Dan Alt. And a lot of our work so far has been hotels, because that's a big factor for a hotel to have those car charging stations. Because guess what? If I drive a Tesla and I'm traveling out of town and that particular hotel doesn't have a way for me to charge my vehicle, it's probably not going to be a place that I'm going to stay. So you had mentioned that industry, the car charging industry in electric cars in general, what has really taken off, and you see it continuing to go in that direction.
Well, yeah, just because of the more cost-effective Tesla that they're putting out. Tesla is making it to where they are doubling their supercharging stations, which is the ones that you can do in 30 minutes. But the ones at the hotels are not quite as intensive as that. So I think that might be a 2-hour charge or something of that nature. So that's a little different. And what we've been doing is the hotel ones. So we're not quite in with the supercharger, but maybe we'll get in there. Who knows? And
it makes sense if you're an apartment complex owner or manager, or you're a hotel owner or manager, and you're listening to the show. It might be a good idea to hire Greg to come out to see if this would be an opportunity for them to even have a car charger. I'm thinking about if I own an apartment complex and I have 4 or 5 car charging stations at my complex, that opens my customer base up to people that drive electric vehicles. Mm-hmm. So it's almost a differentiating factor as a business owner, apartment complex owner, to where I now have opened myself up to that market.
And also, it's not just Tesla. So Tesla has its own charger, but generally on the same pedestal, they would put a universal charger as well. Right. And that's manufactured by Clipper Creek, or a different manufacturer.
Based out of Atlanta, sure.
So you could put in like a Volt or a Leaf or what have you.
I might have missed this. Do you pay for it with a credit card?
Well, that's changing too. So
what does that mean?
It used to be that supercharging stations were free.
They're free.
But that's now changing because people would be more susceptible to charging their car at the supercharging station instead of at their home. And so it would have a backup. Or they might go and have dinner for an hour and a half, and then come back and get their car, but there's people waiting on the chargers. So I think what they're changing that to is they're gonna charge per charge, but it's still gonna be less than a tank of gas. And then if you leave it there for longer than the charge takes, then they charge you per minute after.
Then
the
floor opens up and your car goes into the ground.
Well, hey, they're welcome to. I'll come pick it up.
It's green. Tesla gets the car back and resells it.
So Greg will
cycle of life.
He will engineer the electrical for that automatic door opening.
And we'll wire it.
Yeah, we'll wire it.
I'd love to. That'd be awesome.
And also, Wiley will put it in the floor door.
There's another partner. I think that leads into another thing we want to talk about, and the importance of business relationships. I think we just rattle off a couple. And Greg, you and I really aren't sitting here if it wasn't for a business group. Well, I guess it's more of a business and a social group. Mm-hmm. You and I met last December. We had met before, but really had the conversation about how we could help each other through Succession, Charlotte, that we're both part of. And then you end up, obviously, in February, you start your own firm, Ingitecture. And we've had the fortunate time, we've worked together. I know a couple of projects that we've brought to you, and you've brought in a couple of projects to us. And it's because of that relationship that's so important to both of us.
Definitely. And I wouldn't have got these car charging stations if it weren't for a gentleman that I was in the professional engineering prep class with. Yeah. He was an engineer that went out on his own. And his name is Sandy Blackwelder with Crown Engineering. So if I can't help you, you can always go to Sandy. And Sandy, I really appreciate you turning this client on to me. And it's all because Sandy was so busy and he couldn't do it. So he said, well, Greg's getting his start. Let me help him out. Because I feel like it's all about giving. We in the industry, we need to help each other.
We talk about it all the time. You must have listened to all of our podcasts.
I have.
To prepare for this.
I sure have.
I even listened to the one
guy. But we talk about how we broke the mold, and we love other contractors that are good contractors, and we love other service businesses that are good, well-ran service businesses, good people trying to succeed. A rising tide raises all ships, and there's enough to go around if you do it right. Mm-hmm. If everybody does it right, the batch of opportunity grows. because people are successful, trickle-down economics, and the world spins. I mean, that's my whole business philosophy for today. But, I mean, I was on the phone with John Tamaro, who runs Seminini, great friend of mine. We give each other crap and share business. We're sharing projects together, and we're breaking the mold. David Tyson's one of my great mentors, Tyson's and Associates. I mean, just the same thing. So you're sitting here talking about you got a big leg up and when you started your business from another guy that is a competitor, really.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, I'm going to share and help my friend out. And you just gave him a plug. You gave him an $800 plug on the radio.
Yeah.
Get him to pay you $5,
Sandy,
you'll be on top.
I owe Sandy a few bucks, so okay. Sandy, consider that paid.
That's called a frenemy, right? I heard that term the other day.
Sandy, I hope he does. I hope he doesn't owe you less than $800 because you're winning. If that's the case. All right, so Greg, let's talk about the other things that happen in the engineering world. I mean, what else? Homeowner sitting at home, not in the construction business. What else does an engineer do in this world? Your world, in the construction world?
Really, I work on commercial buildings.
Okay.
So, and that's because you're required to get a permit.
Right.
In the commercial side.
You like those permits.
It's I honestly, I did not even know that this industry really existed until I was a senior in college. I just assumed that it all got put together somehow. And I love engineering, and I love construction, and I love architecture. So this is just a way that I'm able to put it all together.
Right.
And so when I stumbled across this, because there was out of the hundreds and hundreds of companies that came to NC State back in 1990.
Oh my gosh! You don't do the little. Oh, you just did it. Stop.
Get your puppies out.
1990 something.
Stop.
Anyway, there were two that did consulting engineering or building systems engineering, and so I learned that this was even a possibility. And so I moved to Atlanta to get my start. I was there for 4 years, and I've been here since '03, So I've been doing this for 18 years now, and so I feel like I probably know a thing or two by now, and just felt like it was time to shed the boss and do it myself.
Good deal.
Yeah, and I want to give another quick shout out. My wife, she just got tired of hearing me say, "I can do this. I can do this," and finally she said, "Quit talking about it and just do it. We'll make it work."
That's a business lesson.
And I'm telling you, I dropped what I was doing. I went and gave her a hug and a kiss. And
this is the deal. A businessman or a man in general is only as good as his other half.
That's right.
Point blank. I'm down with that. I got the best. Get in line, dog.
Mm-hmm.
But happy wife, happy life.
Yes,
and if your wife blesses it and says, "I'm here for you," then you can be a lot more successful. And some people struggle with that. But I think if they can figure that out and be happy at home, then they go to work and they're confident and do well.
You're right, and we all three share that we have great women in our lives, in our wives, and you're right. I mean, without that support, I think it can be very difficult. And it's obviously the same way for the wife. If we're not supportive in helping them in working together as a team, then it's just not going to work. I mean, I think it's like that in business as well. Well, Greg, we got about a minute and a half left of this segment. I really want to plug your business because you are an entrepreneur. You started in February, Ingitecture. How do we get in touch with you? Do you have a website? Is there a place where people can interact with you and your firm?
Well, I do have a website. Right now, it's basically just a landing page because I had every intention of getting things going. And,
landing page is perfect.
But I just got so busy, so that's a good problem to have, Now, if everybody would just pay.
Because it's a relationship business, right?
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Ingitecture. It's the engineering for architecture. ENGITECTURE.com or Greg.Wiley, WILEY at Ingitecture.com. Or just Greg at Ingitecture. Either one will work. But that's how you get a hold of me.
It's been wonderful meeting you. I think it's really cool. You're on the cutting edge of the architecture engineering business. You really are. And I joke about how we're all dumb and don't know anything. We're bricks and mortar guys. But it's really cool. I hope we're able to share a lot of business as we grow.
It'd be great.
Just don't give John Tamaro any business. No, I'm joking.
But he doesn't do commercial work. So
no,
right.
I'm kidding. John's a great guy. But thanks for coming.
My pleasure.
And if you're listening to the radio now, stay tuned through the commercials, and we'll be back on the At Home with Roby show.
Yeah. Trent, we got a Make-A-Wish story coming up, so stay tuned.
My favorite.